minute, but I just want to give everyone a little rundown on how the meeting's going to run because this is a hybrid meeting. So I just want to let everyone know how we're going to do it. We're going to go through the agenda. And then what we're going to do is when we get to public comment, I'd like you to come up to that mic that's pointing toward the chairs and state your name. So we'll do public comment for folks in the room first, and then we'll go to public comment for anyone that's in the Zoom meeting. Okay, so please state your name. Please kind of limit your comments to 2 or 3 minutes or so. And then we'll move to the Zoom. Does that work? Everybody cool? Okay. All right, it's 6 o'clock, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Can you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So the first item of business is the approval of the minutes from December 16th, 2025.
I'm sorry. Do we have to do a roll call and state our?
I'm sorry, we do have to do a roll call. I skipped that part.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I would accept a motion to change the agenda to do the roll call after the Pledge of Allegiance.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Okay, thanks. So roll call, Rich Cilio, first Selectman.
Mike Burr, Selectman.
Beth Campbell, Selectman.
Thank you. And thank you, Mike, for straightening me out. This one might be bumpy, folks. This is the first time we're doing this. So approval of minutes for December 16th, 2025.
Beth Campbell, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the Board of Selectmen meeting dated December 16th, 2025, as presented.
Mike Burr, second.
Any discussion?
Negative.
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Just so everyone knows, all these minutes and everything that you see on the screen here has already been posted up on the website with a couple of caveats, and I will point those out as we go forward. Back to the agenda to old business. I would accept a motion to change the agenda to put the discussion of the WPCA facility capacity project funding first, ahead of the veterans property tax exemption.
Beth Campbell, so moved.
Mike Burr, so seconds.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Bert, do you want me to take this? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put something on the screen here. Should really zoom this up. So, as many of you may be aware, we have we've had an engineering review at the WPCA facility. The executive report came in several months ago. We've been looking at where we are, and there are several items that need to be addressed at the WPCA. There is currently a moratorium on any new connections due partly to some of the needs of the things that were outlined in the report. Myself and Bert and Tom have gone through and looked at the report and built out an investment plan for the project. That's what you see on the screen today, right now. And that investment plan we sent out to our bonding advisor to take a look at how we would bond this over this period of time. And we have, he's come back and showed us, how we can go about bonding this. So this was presented to the Board of Finance and was discussed there and approved at the Board of Finance to go to town meeting for further approval. And I can tell you that the result of the investment that you see on the screen here is 1/8 of our current mill rate. Our mill rate will be adjusted once we go through the revaluation. But right now, based on where we are for the 25-26 budget, it would equate to 1/8 of a mill.
So you're saying the bonding is about 200,000 a year? Plus or minus?
That's the impact to the budget. That's the debt service. Yep.
Okay, so that's not up there, that's just. Do you have an actual bonding, 20-year bonding?
We do. So this is the bonding plan. And sorry, I got to get something out of the way here. So there's a couple of ways we can look at this, and I'll tell you, we will be sort of smoothing out how we approach the bonding. There's a column which is called column Q. It's the third from the right that talks about potential use of funds and premiums. We do have some money that we can put against this as well that we would use for this. We would not use those dollars the way you see them laid out. We would probably smooth out the actual impact, so the annual change looks is more smoothed out. So it's the same year on year on year, as opposed to having big changes or fluctuations in how we approach it. That would be certainly favored by, bonding agencies and rating agencies. The other chart here shows debt service versus proposed debt. And, our bonding folks always like to show what a debt benchmark would be, which means what they think we should be borrowing. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that line that curves up at the top of this chart is what that looks like. Did I miss anything, Bert? So I'll add one more thing. When we sat down to look at the investment plan, we tried to focus on those items that would allow us to release the moratorium as quickly as possible. That's basically the UV equipment. Let me just go back up here for a sec. So that would be what you see under UV in this table, the engineering, the equipment. You can see that in the first year, we're not spending very much because we're basically finalizing engineering, getting bids, and putting things on order. What you'll see here is we're pretty much 2 years out, or 12 to 18 months out, basically, to actually getting some of the equipment and starting to get it installed. Fair? 18 months, is that? Okay. So more like 24 months. Okay. You can't hear Bert, but he's correcting me. 24 months. So the other thing I want to mention is when you look at the investment under sludge thickening, there is a cost savings associated with that. We do have some preliminary numbers on that, but basically we're in a position where the sludge haulers really don't want a highly viscous sludge anymore. They're really increasing their rates for hauling and so forth when it comes to highly viscous sludge. So the more we can thicken it, the more we can save on hauling. So there's definitely some cost upside there. Um, the other thing that's important to know is, we really need to lift the moratorium in my mind, because the WPCA and the ability to add connections to our wastewater really unlocks economic development in town. And we really need all the help we can get. So the purpose of this discussion at this meeting, again, the Board of Finance has approved this to go to town meeting. I would like to ask that we do the same.
Mike Bird, I have a question, couple of questions. One's procedural. Is it typically we approve something, goes to the Board of Selectmen, and then they approve it subject to approval at a town meeting? We have this backwards on this one?
We do.
We do.
We do. Because, well, what I will tell you is the original plan came to this board first. What we didn't have was the bonding implications, because that was still being worked on. My goal is to hopefully move all this as quickly as possible to a town meeting on February 11th.
Okay, my next question is in regards to your bonding plan that you have laid out here. It doesn't show any impact to debt service until 2028. But then you said it's fairly level. Are you going to level these payments? Because the high payment is way more than an eighth of a mil, right?
We are going to level it. We're going to smooth it
The
out.
highest payment's 470,900 on this proposed debt service, and that's probably two-thirds of a mil in today's mil numbers, right? So I don't
Which column
see-
are you
I
looking
don't
at?
see, what would you consider, what is the mil? What's the value of a mil these days? 600 something?
600,000.
So I see a lot of 470, 460, 449.
Which column are you looking at, Mike?
Total proposed debt service in the middle of your, right under the 5282000.
Right. You got to look at the annual change column. So it does go up, but we are gonna smooth that out with column Q a little bit.
The annual change is that's the overall debt service, right? But the impact of this is way more than an eighth of a mil. We're retiring debt through here. I see that. So I see the annual change might even out, but to me, I think people need to understand that this project alone, and if you go down 10 years or 8 years, 26, 27, 28, 29. In 2032, you got a $460,000 nut from this project. I get the overall that we retired debt. That's what your graph showed. And that's a good thing. And we replace it with other debt, but the impact to this project is way more than 1/8 of a mil. It is what it is. We need to do it, but I think people need to understand the cost of it. My last question, years ago, in the 90s, there was a sinking fund, which was a matter of time. I don't know if you were there then. It was a matter of great debate when we had to spend 5 or 6 million in the 90s. Was there still a sinking fund that the WPCA maintains? And is that going to part of that? How much money is in the sinking fund? Is there enough to offset any of this, or is that just for ongoing, like a rainy day fund if something breaks?
infrastructure maintenance and upgrades.
That's what the sinking fund? Okay.
And that's, we typically try and keep that somewhere around 20 to 25% of the annual budget, which is the recommended level by the state of Connecticut. However, we're well under that now because of some major expenses, repairs that we've had to do.
It's currently about 15%.
Okay, and then even though we're not really gonna do get anything done for a couple of years out, you guys are okay with lifting a moratorium, even though there's gonna be a lapse before you're able to address the,
Mike, I can't speak for the whole board, but I will certainly try to do that. Recommend that once the funding is in place for the first two options, the UV system and the pump upgrades, that will address the major bottleneck in the treatment of the treatment plant. Okay, at that point, I will recommend, as I said before, that the moratorium be released for up to 250 units based on the current sewer service plan. Once we get farther down the line, then we can look at removing the moratorium for the additional 250 units that we may have capacity for based on the engineering study.
now,
Another step that has to be done in order to go past the 250.
what is the current moratorium? Because it expired already. Did you guys extend it
It
or?
was extended to April 15th, which is 1 year from the original date.
Okay, so once the money is in place, you're comfortable removing the moratorium for 250 units?
I am, yes.
But how long would it take? Is it gonna take 2 years to get that UV system online or?
That's probably what, a year after the design is made. So
Yeah, it's gonna take, from the getting of the equipment, it'll be a year until it's. There's a 52-week build time for the unit.
And it can't be installed during the summer while we're using the existing one. It'll have to be done in the fall or early spring.
Thank you.
Mike, I just want to come back to this chart. So if you look at column R, which is the second one from the right,
Yeah,
that is our projected net debt service. The top line, the 2.3 million, is the current debt service. That's where we are now.
well, then what is column B, existing debt service that says 2026, 2,509,000? Why is that different from 2,000,003?
Because we're going to use some of the premiums that we have to lower that.
Okay.
That's what column Q is. And when we use those premiums, the premiums that are currently on this sheet will be adjusted a little bit so that when you look at column S, the annual change would be a little bit smoother. So we'll lower that the first one in that you see 139,465. We're going to lower that down to 1/8 of a mil, and we're going to keep it at 1/8 of a mil for the next 4 years after that.
Okay, refresh my memory on DS fund and premiums. Where does that money come from?
Can I call Tracy?
No, go ahead. I'll ask her.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a qualified answer for you.
Yeah, because I don't know what tree that money comes off of. Okay. Do you have any questions?
I do not.
I make a motion that we approve the WPCA facility capacity funding as presented subject to approval at a town meeting.
and send it to the town meeting.
Send it to the town meeting on February 11th.
Second.
Discussion?
That was Burr. No.
No discussion. All those in favor? Aye.
Just a point of
Most in-
parliamentary, we
M-
should make the motion and then have our discussion.
Well, you're the one who went straight into the questions, dude.
You start.
Passes unanimously. Okay.
Okay,
So we switch this around. So the next item is the veterans property tax exemption. Which would require an ordinance change, and an amendment of chapter 247. So
I make a motion to send to the town meeting. Can we do the same at the same town meeting on February 11th?
that's the plan.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the veterans exemption as presented. I make a motion to approve the ordinance and send to town meeting for approval on chapter 247 for veterans exemption for disabled veterans.
Second.
Discussion.
No, we discussed this already.
We have. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. New business. The first item is the discussion possible approval of the fine arts connection of Thomaston. And I would like to, for use of the Crescent Gallery. So, I think this requires a little discussion before a motion. Would one of you like to come up and explain or talk about this? So, or do you want me to just go for it?
And if there is a question, I'll be happy to come up.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So, I did meet with these nice ladies and they presented this letter to me, which you both have in your packets and it's on the screen currently. And really the overarching request that's in this is for sort of an understanding between the town and the Fine Arts Connection to how will they use the Crescent Gallery, but how will we also ensure that the artwork that's presented there is secured appropriately. Fair. So for those who may not know, there's a group of artists that use the Crescent Gallery, not just to meet, but also, well, they meet every Thursday, but also they do display work, and other artists display work in there. And, every piece of art is a one of a kind in a way. So, there's some questions about, will we be locking it? How is it maintained from a cleanliness perspective? If other groups use the Crescent Gallery, how will that be monitored? So this is really a request to, sort of firm up some of those topics. There aren't, I would say that, some of those things I talked about are covered in here. I don't know that we've aligned on specifics as to how that would happen. I know Mike as a as the chair of the Opera House Commission, I know there's discussions about who uses the Crescent Gallery, and now that some of the work is almost done, um, how should we approach this?
I don't think there's any question on the use of it. I don't think anybody disagrees with the use. I guess the sticking point is how is it going to be secured? Because recently, within the last month, they moved as you know, I'm sorry, Burr speaking. Recently, as you know, we moved they moved, not we, but they moved the after-school suspension to that space as well. And I'm not sure, but Deb, is that every day at 2:30?
That I don't know without looking at the calendar. I have the calendar in front of me and I don't see the kids anymore because they don't come up here, so I
So,
don't know.
so the 10 to 1 artists are there from Thursday from 10 to 1, hence the name. And then the only other use that I would see really is the after-school suspension, and then if we needed to use it for voting, right?
There are also meetings that are held in there.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We've had certain organizations, when we request a room in the town hall to hold a meeting, often they will give us, we have to go to the police department and get the key. And we can use the Crescent Gallery for meetings.
Yeah, I think the intention, the commission has discussed that it's that and the room, the space above it in the old firehouse. When we reopen the contract with Landmark very shortly, we're gonna propose that the Crescent Gallery and the larger room are multi-use facilities. So, if there needs to be, like the seniors need to go in and have line dancing or something, we put a vinyl coating on that floor. So if the Landmark is going to have tap dancers or rehearsals, the nice wood floor that we finish won't get damaged. So we intend to use, at least from the commission's perspective, is to allow for multiple uses in there. So I think it's going to be a scheduling issue. It's going to be just have to go through Vinnie Carey to schedule the spaces. And I think that anybody, including FACT or the artists, obviously have a set time to be in there. And I think it was told that some Sundays you guys might want to have it open. And that's a great idea. Then, so the only issue I see is how are we going to make sure that it's secured? That door is lockable. The new wall we put in there, that door can be locked. But
From the entrance from Town Hall?
yeah, there's two locks, actually. The issue is going to be the one lock that goes to the new vestibule for the elevator. There's a door on that lock for just the first door you come to from the box office. When you make the left turn, that door has a key that can be locked as well. It's just going to be a management issue, we're looking at maybe not putting a lock on the first one to the elevator, because it has to be accessible from the loading dock and to get stuff out. So there's always going to be a lock on both ends of the Crescent Gallery. So it's probably going to just be the way it is now. You'll have to go to the police department if it's locked and get a key. And if it's locked, then and the after school suspension, they're going to have to go to the police department and get a key and unlock it and then lock it when they're finished and give the key back, right? So it's just going to be another space that needs to be managed properly.
I think that's what they were hoping for, is to keep it locked and then use the same process we have today for reservations. And then whomever has reserved it can go to PD to get the key.
Yeah, I don't think we need to make a motion or approve anything. It's just going to be a management issue between Vinnie Carey and the Selectmen's office and
I will draft a note.
scheduling.
I'll draft a note to Vinny and PD and explain, and Joelette, to make sure everyone understands that we are staying with the existing or the former process.
Right. And that, having that door locked will help us, because it has to be locked if they're doing voting in there as well, so.
We're just looking to formalize it because it had never been formalized. This is good.
I will draft something that looks like a policy.
You need to put in your note that when you draft, and especially with Joe, the Landmark in their contract has responsibilities to clean and maintain the paper products and things in the bathrooms, like next to the small stage and in box office. But I think the town, it should be the understanding that the town will maintain the bathroom that's off the Crescent Gallery, okay? 'Cause even though that's a part of the overall space that Landmark rents, I don't think it's fair to have Landmark have to clean that bathroom.
Okay. Alrighty. The next item is, you're welcome,
Thank you.
is discussion of a request for a street light at Thomaston Valley Village. Oops, sorry. We gotta go this way. Okay, so this is the entrance to Thomaston Valley Village that I'm showing on the screen. Hopefully everyone can see my my photo. That pole is was put in at some point during the construction of Thomaston Valley Village, and Mr. Bobrowski has asked that we put a light on it. So, you know, we can make sure folks can see making the turn and so forth. After going back and forth with Eversource and discussing what it would take to do that, we determined that it would be about just under $1,000 to get that equipment installed. That does not include, obviously, the power consumption of that particular light. Thoughts?
Burr, it seems to make sense. I mean, there's a lot of elderly people that live in that facility. And if you drive around town, a lot of our intersections are lighted, I think. So I wouldn't have any issue with it. I don't think one light bulb is gonna break one set of lights. Do you have any idea what the annual cost is for one of those, or? I don't think we have it broken down per
I
per
don't.
light, but those are energy efficient lights that are supposed to last 10 years that turn blue within 6 months. Yeah, I don't have any, yeah,
Address the selectmen.
yeah, you're gonna have to come over there.
For the record, Tim Bobrowski, part owner of Thomaston Valley Village with my wife Lynn. Just for a point of references, there was, and Tom Sully's here to tell you that maybe 20 years ago, Tom, about 20 years ago, there was a light on that pole. We weren't there. It was chosen to be removed. We came to build 200 and 198 Reynolds Bridge Road. And we we paid for that pole that you see there. Which basically the power goes to our building. Now, I just wanted to shed a little bit of light that if you go farther down on 250 Reynolds Bridge Road. We pay for 3 floodlights that illuminate. I would like to say close to 80% on our property. The other 20%, there's an indirect light that goes down and it basically shines from at least 500 linear feet. And I took a picture of the situation tonight, and I can show the selectmen, there is a light at where 250 Reynolds Bridge Road starts, but I mean, in reference to be a little bit more prudent, I would propose the Eversource take that light down because it's not needed and move that light to this light pole. So there shouldn't be any additional cost to the taxpayer for, because we're just switching them out. There might be something for that $1,000 cost, but you guys are making up a little, you got a pretty good deal with how much we pay for taxes. It's my only comment. I don't know if you want to hear from Tom Scully for
No,
give you some history.
yeah, this is Burr. I don't think we need to hear. I think, about 20 years ago is when they went around the whole town and cut out a lot of the lights, and they took that one out probably because there was no intersection at the time, but now there's an intersection with a lot of traffic, so it makes sense. And I don't know if Rich can make a phone call or Deb and see if they would be willing to move the light.
They'll,
That
they'll
I-
do, they'll do whatever we ask. I'll just tell you that to move the light is double the expense, the one-time expense. Your question about what does it cost to run from now until whenever, maybe that pays itself back. So my recommendation at this point is let us try and figure out kind of what one light costs to operate on a annual basis and see if the $2,000 pays itself back.
Yeah, I don't know. That could be an exercise in futility,
Could
but
be.
you knock yourself out if you want to try.
I'm just saying
Um,
that the price that I have, they would have to do the exact same steps twice.
Yeah.
So they would
I-
shut the power off, take the bracket down, turn the power back on.
If it's cost effective, then it makes sense to move it, but if not, then just put another light in there. I mean, it makes sense to have the intersection lighted.
Let me just do the math.
Okay, we'll leave it up to you, so we're not gonna, I think we're in agreement on the concept of it, so you want a motion that we agree to put a light there and you can figure out which light it's gonna be?
Yes, and the cost for this would come out of the streetlight budget.
Okay, I make a motion to approve a streetlight at the intersection of the entrance at 198 Reynolds Bridge Road,
198, 200 Reynolds Bridge Road.
200.
It's it's 200, and then behind the building, there's a building that's.
All right, whatever that pole is.
The entrance of Thomaston Village.
Yeah, the entrance to Thomaston Valley Village.
Second.
Any discussion?
No,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is to reappoint Daniela Olet to the what's the
Torrington.
THA?
An area
Torrington Area Health District.
as a representative, which she already is. It's just, and she was asked if she wanted to be reappointed, and she does.
Okay,
Beth Campbell, make a motion to reappoint Daniela Olet to the Torrington Area Health District as a representative.
second, Burr.
A motion was made by Beth and seconded by Mike. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda is to amend the 2026 Board of Selectmen meeting schedule, moving all meetings to meeting room 1.
So move, Burr.
I have a motion by A motion by Mike Byrne, a second by Beth. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Board commission appointments, resignations. We need to, we would like to appoint Patrick Hires as a regular member of P and Z. This recommendation came from the Republican Town Committee to fill a Republican vacancy.
I make a motion to appoint Patrick Hires as a regular member of Planning and Zoning.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Tax refunds.
Beth Campbell, make a motion to approve the tax refund submitted by the tax collector in the amount of $561.88 to Matthew Savoy. In the amount of $581.51 to Matthew Savoy. To Toyota Lease Trust in the amount of $407.70. To Toyota Lease Trust in the amount of $552.14. To Toyota Lease Trust in the amount of $433.99. To Toyota Lease Trust in the amount of $104.72. To A car leasing in the amount of $233.81. To A car leasing in the amount of $246.01. To A car leasing in the amount of $232.09.
For a second.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, she made a motion. She
Okay.
started with a motion and I.
Sorry. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Communication. I don't have any communication. Anybody have any communication? Nope. Member comment?
Nothing from me. Burr.
No comment.
Okay, I don't have any comments either. Public comment. Okay, so there, some of you joined a little bit late, but we were going to take public comment from those folks in the room. And Mr. Borowski's still here. Any public comment? Thank you. Now we can go to the Zoom. If you'd like to make public comment, please come off of mute and feel free to state your name and ask any questions you may have or make any comments.
You guys nod your heads. You can hear us. Okay, right? People on Zoom, I guess you can hear us, right?
Yeah, they can hear us.
All right, thanks. Thanks for listening.
Okay. I don't think we have any questions. So I'm going to
Motion to adjourn.
thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody on the Zoom.
Is that, we off now? Do these